how to use sub brushes in Affinity Photo. Well, first thing to do is create a sub brush. Now I've got some brushes over here and you can find that in the view menu and studio and brushes, and you can select any of these brushes. By default, generally they don't have a sub brush, but what I would recommend as soon as you select that is you right click and then you go to duplicate brush. So duplicate brush, and it just creates one that you can work on. You don't want to work on the existing one unless you don't mind losing it. So you've got your design there and you can then start working on that. And I'm just going to quickly clear this. So let's just go here, edit and fill, and just fill it completely with white. Now you've got your brush, you can double click, and as soon as you do that, you can see you've got all the various options here. You've got general, you've got dynamics, you've got texture, you've also got, it's obviously got a texture there, sub brushes, and clearly it's got no sub brushes at this point. Now sub brush, like PNG files, there's certain formats that will accept, so I'm just going to go with PNG, but you can say add bitmap. So add bitmap, and I'm just going to go with one of these ones. I've got sub brushes that I've created earlier, and all they are is just a simple file. I'm going to show you how to quickly create one in a sec. So click open, and this is all it is. Just a circular design. It's just I just created it using just a basic brushstroke circular design. And now you can select that. And as you do that, you can edit it. You can double click. You can also click here, the edit. And then what you can do, you can change the size, and you can see you can change the size there, and you can see now that brush stroke. And now that will change the actual brush result there. And you can see the brush there. If I decrease the size, it reduces down. Now I can make it a lot bigger than that. And you've got a few. Unfortunately, I've got sub brushes of sub brushes. But what you can do, you can go to dynamics. You can say size jitter. So you can see as you do that, that changes here, changes there. And also you can set hue jitter, etc. You can just modify it in all kinds of different ways. And it depends obviously on the color here of your brush stroke. And let's just go with that. So I've got lovely design there, and I can click close. So you can see it now, you've got your sub brush there. Now at current nozzle, so what does that mean? Well, when you apply it, let's just quickly apply it. And I'm just going to apply it like this. And now you can still see the original brush as well as the sub brush. You can see as you apply it, that's the default at current nozzle. If I go for behind current nozzle, it's a slight delay. If you go with this one at end of stroke, so I apply it and you can see you just get the standard brush and then release, then it applies it. That's my interpretation of those commands. Personally, I just keep it. I don't see the reason why not. At current nozzle, just the default, perfectly reasonable. You've also got this option here, blend as well as erase. Now, if you've got this line, it's fine. You can obviously have it. You can apply it like that. And you can see you've got the line, the original brush. Also, you've got the sub brush added on top. You're blending. Now, it's a pity there's not a few more options. I could imagine they could introduce more. But at the moment, obviously, there's just two options there. You've got erase. Now, at this point, say you use the erase. And what it does, you can see it just removes from brushstroke. If you didn't have that brushstroke there, say you had the brushstroke, let's just go to general and set the size like that. You can see it just erases from that. And just subtle, very subtle cuts away. Some will be more or, more or less. However, if you haven't got anything there, so you go for that and then you use the erase, it doesn't do anything. It's completely pointless. Size needs to be something for it to erase, and you can see the sort of the way it cuts away from the colour there. And that's in the sub brush. Personally, it is actually useful, the erase. It is quite nice. You can create some very interesting effects using that erase where it cuts away, but it does need something to actually cut away from. But I'm going to go with blend, and you can see the result of blend as you apply it there. And you can see it resizes, etc. All the dynamics that you've got with the sub brush. However, you notice also it's got sync size and sync spacing. Personally, I always turn those off. Unfortunately, it defaults to have them on. I don't know why. It's fine, I suppose, but personally, I prefer just to have those turned off because I like to set them independently. So I don't want to sync them. So now I can go here to general, I can reduce the size down and all these things, nothing's synced, the spacing, everything's available. So if I go now, edit here, you can see now I can control the spacing. When it was syncing, everything was unfortunately linked and the spacing wasn't available. Now I can actually turn around and say, look, you can actually change the spacing. You can get some very interesting effects just doing that. And again, you can just increase the spacing so you make it a bit further out, and obviously other dynamics as well available, as well as texture, etc. And click close. So now you can apply it again, and you can see now you just get that. You've got a bit of spacing in between. You might not want that. You might want it to be just very rapid. Undo. But also, let's just go for another one. So I can edit it, but also I can add a bitmap, another bitmap. But before I do that, I'm going to actually show you obviously what the bitmap ones are. So let's just close this. Let's just go to a file. Now, which file that's one of them. Let's go to a file. One of the files, doesn't particularly matter. You can make a size 400 by 400, 1000 by 1000. I don't know if there's a limit. And then let's just go to another brush there. Just going to go with this one. And I'm just going to apply a brush. Now you can go in black. Perfectly reasonable, and you can just do any sort of design, maybe a nice doodle design. This is another option. You just create a doodle like that, something like that. Anything, could be a circular design, frame design, text, anything, images, doesn't matter. Once you've done that, go to File and then go to Export, and then go with PNG. Oh, I've gone for the wrong one. This is actually quite a larger file size. However, it doesn't matter. Export and then give it a name. And I'm going to go with Doodle 1. And that's saved as a PNG file via the export. And you can do that a number of times. Just any sort of design. So you can make it like a scroll like that. Just something like that. Something very basic. Then just go to File and again Export and just save it. PNG again. Export. Scratchy. You can see you can build up a whole load of subbrush files that you can bring in at any time and click save. So now what you can do, let's just go undo that and then go back here and select this again. And again, click there. Now with this, again, I've got quite a few more ones there. This is obviously in the other file. And I can remove as well. So let's just remove those. And you can see that one that I had earlier. I can just add some more. So add bitmap. And this time maybe go for, like I say, the doodle. So there's the doodle one, doodle.png. Click open. And you can see now it's just there. Just one. It just gives it a file size of 1. Very small. Probably not much use. However, edit. And what you can do, you can change the size. And you can see that just by increasing the size there, make it, obviously the file size was 1900 or whatever. So you can make it quite a reasonably. Now it will get slower if you go with a big file design. And again, you've got rotation, you can rotate it, dynamics again, you've got scatter, you've got size jitter, hue jitter. The more you add into it, I think the slower it will get close. And again, it's gone for the sync size, sync space. That's the default. I wish it wasn't. So you can deselect those. Again, you've got at current nozzle, so as you draw it, it will apply it. Blend, so it's adding on to what you've got. At the moment, obviously nothing there, but you can then apply it. Now you can always remove this one. Sadly, I just wish there was not just a remove. It would be nice if there was just a disable feature, because you might want that, but you just don't want it at that point. It'd be nice if you could sort of deselect it, not remove it. It's annoying because you have to remove it and then you have to add it again if you want to later. Seems to be a bit of a, but anyway, so you got that and you got that one. And you can, of course, so let's say if I remove that one, so I can just remove it and you've just got that one now. Just so, now with this general, you got here. Now, of course, you can't see it because, of course, you got here 1. But you can apply this thing. And this is the sub brush that's been applied. Not the other brush, not the actual main brush is the best word to describe it instead of sub brush. This is the actual sub brush being applied. That's the doodle. Now it's obviously looks a bit of a mess, but that's what it's generating. And again, you can always go to subbrush, you can always double click, and again, just edit it. So you turn around and say, all dynamics, actually rotation jitter. So let's just give it a bit of rotation, size jitter, maybe the scatter, these settings, just change them if you're not happy with it. Click close again, and then apply it. And then you can see the result there. And again, looks much the same, to be honest. And you can do that, keep working on these different sub brushes. Again, always at any point, you can always edit that one, and you can say, oh, change the spacing. Maybe the spacing needs to be a bit. However, obviously the closer again it is, you get this sort of result here. It's going to be slow, depending on your machine. So close there, and then apply. And you can see now, that's the sub brush being applied. If you want to bring the other brush in, you can. Again, double click there. Now go back to general, and this time let's just increase this. And then you can see, because you need something, obviously the size of that, 28, 30, you can see it now appearing through that. Click close. And again, you can see it applied there. And if I change the color, let's just go for red. And you can see then, obviously that changes the sub brush color result as well. But you can also now see that main brush coming through as well. And again, you can just vary it, heart's content. And again, you can always go double click on that. And again, sub brush. Decide, you know what, I don't want that doodle brush that looks basically a fuzzy design. You can always just remove it. And you can say add bitmap. And now I've got other ones. So I've got here a zigzag design. So let's just select that. Just a basic zigzag design. Again, I created with a brush stroke. Click open. And again, brings that in. Obviously, always defaults to a very low size as well as the sync. So double click again. You can just increase that and you can see the size there. The result will be there. And again, you can, if you want to, go for rotation jitter. So you can see it rotates it around. Hue jitter. All those things can be set. And also get rid of that, sync size, spacing. And then you've got that. And then you can, of course, apply it. And again, you can see you've got that red brush. As well as, of course, you've got that sub brush being added on as well. And again, you can always remove it. If you don't want it, just remove it. And again, go back to sub brush, edit, and again, change the spacing. If you want it really crunched up, make it very, very intense. Click close. Now, what you can also do, you can have more than one. So add bitmap, turn around and say, oh, I want circular frame as well. So that one, again, starts off with just one. what a default. That is just, but that's because of the sync size. Just goes in, but that is the default it says. And I, again, unset that. So once you've done that, again, double click or edit, and then you can change the size. And let's just increase the size. And now you can see your circles there. And you can again go through rotation, spacing, modify all these things. And also you've got blend modes. So if you decide, you know what, let's go for darken. And again, you can always try these out or multiply. So again, you can just apply it like that and you can see the result of that. Turn around and say, oh, I don't want multiply, let's go for difference. You might get a result, might change things, might not, depending on various other settings. But you can see you can create a variety of different designs, click close, and that's added there. You can also turn around and say, well, for that one, let's go for arrays. And you can see it cuts away, obviously, from this one. It needs something if you're going to use arrays. Doesn't matter if it's the original brush, which is obviously set to 1, which doesn't hardly exist. It needs something to erase from. And I guess the order makes a difference. So again, you can apply it. You can see it just cutting away there. You create all kinds of different designs. And again, you can always go to edit and manipulate this. Instead of difference, maybe go for color burn and so on. And that might or not create a difference. Okay, like that. Click close, and you've got quite a complex brush there. And again, click close there, and you can see your brush there. And of course, if you want to work from it again, what you can do, right click, and again, duplicate. So you duplicate that one, and you can end up eventually, yeah. So you can see you've got 2 copies there now, and you can just edit it. So double click on that one, and you can then work on raise, change, blending, etc. Maybe remove one of those, add a different one, etc. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Thank you much.